Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our second session tonight for Iowa Pagan News on the Prairie Land Radio Network. And this evening we are joined by my good friend, musician, singer, songwriter, fantastic guitarist Brian Henke from Ohio. I want to thank you for reaching out and wanting to be on the show with us.
Oh, it's good to be here. Real good to be here.
We were doing some talking before we came online that some of the experiences that he's had over the years and working with different bands and musicians in the not only the pagan community but the mundane world as well. And it's Brian has released a lot of great music that you'll definitely enjoy being able to listen to. In fact, we're going to be playing one of his videos midway through the interview tonight. So be sure to keep with us. You'll be able to listen in on that. And there you are.
Sorry, guys.
I'm in secret square. I'm in the middle.
Hit refresh on the screen and it kicked me right out. I was like, oh, sorry about that.
There we go. All right. So now, like I said, I've known you for a while now. I've listened to pretty much all the CDs and albums that I've got of yours. Like I say, you've got more music out there than a lot of the other artists that we both know. And like anytime I listen to your music, even though it's pretty much all instrumental, I love it.
Well, thank you. I've been doing this a really, really long time. I was doing music, before CDs. I think somewhere around the house, I may even have a few cassette tapes of bands I was in. And I've always written my own music. And then, in the 80s, for a while, I first started playing in cover bands, which was a good learning experience to see how other songwriters put things together. And I've just never stopped. I've been playing for going on 55 years now, and I've never taken a hiatus from it. I know a lot of people that have, and I've just never stopped writing. I have to force myself sometimes to not write so that I can concentrate on learning what I have written and getting it memorized, because that's the hardest part for me, is memorizing everything.
Oh yeah, I mean that's difficult for any musician out there. But basically, when they've got as much music out there as what you do, it even it impresses me a lot of times that how well they're able to still remember some of the older stuff that they've written.
Right.
I write books. I couldn't imagine memorize them and perform them over and over again. I could not imagine having to do that.
Some of the music is really complicated, and it's funny, as long as I keep playing it, I'll have it in my head. I can just kind of go to it, and there's muscle memory and all that. But if I put it aside for a while because I've gotten tired of it, or I've just forgotten about it, because that can happen too, then I have to go back and relearn it, and refigure out what the chords were, and relearn the lyrics. A lot of times I'm like, what tuning was I in for this? Where was the capo? Did I use a capo? It can get pretty complicated. But as a friend of mine joked, he says, "What, Brian? You do something complicated?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I don't want to get bored, so I want to keep it interesting. But I have to say, as complicated as some of it is, I never, ever, ever do something to be complicated. It just comes out that way. It's not my fault. It's my muse's
Oh,
fault.
oh yeah, know that for certain. And I mean, you even made a comment while we were offline that you'll be at a gig and you'll come up with, okay, I don't know what album this song's off of, but we're gonna just do it anyway.
Right. Yeah, I do a lot of times forget what album something is from, because I don't listen to it. I mean, when the album is done, usually I don't want to hear any of it for a while because I've been, inside of it, trying to get it as perfect as I can before it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And, I get bored with me and
Yeah.
I want to move on to the next thing. I mean, I've got enough material right now, songs, not instrumental songs, compositions, but just songs for 3 albums. And most of that's actually tracked already. It just needs to be mixed and have other instruments added to it if that's what they call for. Um, and go from there. But I'm planning on releasing 2 of them this year. One is just about done. The To the Fair album should be out very, very soon. I'm actually hoping, got all of my fingers crossed, to finish it tomorrow night. We'll see.
Oh,
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, yeah. I will actually miss seeing the first night of the Winter Star Symposium. I'll have to watch it later, when it's recorded, because I need to be mixing. And
mm-hmm.
as I mentioned earlier, I do my mixing online via Zoom with my engineer. I track live. I mean, when I'm in the studio, we do the basic tracking live, and then a lot of other musicians will send me WAV files of their parts. So I've got musicians from all over the world, like Dave the Bard, from the UK, and Spiral Dance from Australia.
Mm-hmm.
You'll hear all of them on this next album.
Very cool.
Sharon Knight, who lives out in California. The distance becomes not an issue. And during COVID, when most of the studios were closed, it was actually a plus because I couldn't get into any studios.
Right.
And
Well,
that's pretty frustrating when you're writing a lot of songs and you want to record them and you can't record.
Yeah, that's true. Uh, and SJ just put out a photo, just I caught a glimpse of it. I think it was yesterday or earlier today that she took a picture of her new setup for her studio at home.
Right. Yeah. Now
And
I don't do that. I don't. The stuff that I'm playing is too complicated for me to have to worry about the recording end of things too. I
right.
can't, be twisting dials and looking at a computer screen and then playing this part. I mean, it's hard enough because I use, for musicians out there, I use a click track behind me when I'm recording and I'm playing this guitar part. And my songs the guitar parts change with the lyrics, of the songs. And the melodies change sometimes from verse to verse. And I'm trying to sing the song in my mind because I can't sing it out loud because it'll get into the guitar track. Listening to a click track at the same time, and it's like I got spinning plates going already, and to have to engineer it too would be just too much for me. And my hat's off to anybody that can do that. It's just I do not have that ability.
Yeah. My friend Ed Stott, he plays guitar as well, and he wants to know what your favorite instrument is to play.
Well, the one I play the most, I've got a Larrivee C9 that I got straight from the factory in 2005. Back in the days when you could still get endorsement deals fairly easily. And I have one electric guitar, an old 71 Les Paul Deluxe with
Oh
original
wow.
pickups in it that I bought used the summer of '72. That's a remarkable guitar. Matter of fact, in the video we were playing later in the show, that is the electric guitar I used for that. And I play a harp guitar as well, and I've got a one of a kind 27 string double neck harp guitar called the Dreamcaster. And if you go to my Facebook site, if you go to my main page and you click it on, you'll see it. You'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, as I say, the Les Paul is the guitar to go to for seems like any musician.
Yeah, Les Pauls, Strats. There's a lot of great guitars right now. It seems to be the golden age of lutherie. Some incredible acoustic guitar builders out there right now too. Just seems in the past 10 years it's just exploded, which is awesome for the players like myself. I don't build, although I am talking with a friend of mine who is an incredible guitar player and a builder about possibly going to his studio and building one, and having him show me what to do. We'll see how much time I have next winter.
Well, there's a company out now that they put a thing out on Facebook that they're building. It's a fiber composite guitar.
Yeah, those are awesome. I played a Rain Song fiber composite guitar in Hawaii many years ago, and it was remarkable. They stay in tune really well. You can play them outside in the rain. They're not going to warp. And there was a company, CNL or CNS, I don't remember the name of them. They were bought out by Peavey, but the owner of the company and I were talking briefly back in the days when MySpace was still around, about him building a harp guitar for me out of that, and unfortunately he sold the company and it never happened. But another one of those things, I said, if I had a nickel for every time somebody said they were going to do something
right
for my career, I wouldn't need a career.
Well, as I say, I was seeing some of the feedback that they were getting on those composite guitars, and even though they say that they don't warp, they pretty much stay in tune.
Stay in tune. Music.
Yeah, you don't have
Woody
to
Wool
have
was playing one last year. And it sounded great.
Yeah,
I was having all kinds of feedback issues because we were in a gazebo at a Cleveland Pagan Pride, and hers just sounded perfect. So maybe that's something in the future I will consider. I tell guitar manufacturers, yes, I'd love to play your guitars, and if you give me one, I'll play it. I remind them I do play guitar for a living, so I can't afford it. So we'll see what happens. If there happens to be a really good builder out there that makes composite guitars, yes, I will play your guitar if you give it to me.
Well, I think that
sounds like a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just said the same thing I was going to say. Yeah. So,
I actually
I
had a guy locally here say to me once, Brian, he says, I'm a guitar builder, and I would like to build a guitar to your specs, a 6-string acoustic guitar, and name it after you and then give it to you. Is that all right? I said, let me think about that. Yes, please.
Yeah.
That's true. And now you said that you are currently working on 3 albums at the same time.
Right. And a musical. I can't forget the musical.
And the musical. Yeah.
And a musical. That I'm working on with Byron Ballard. I think she was on your show not too long ago.
Yep.
Yeah. Great writer and huge background in theater. He's done all the Shakespeare stuff, both acting, producing, directing, all of that stuff, and we're working on a musical together. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And some of those songs will probably find their ways onto the albums as well.
I also want to say good evening to Angelina, who is joining us. Angelina Payne Sauter, welcome to Iowa Pagan News. Appreciate you tuning in tonight.
Hi, Angelina.
So now, I know that you said that, you said that you're going to try to be at Starwood, and I think you said that you're going to try to hit up Heartland too.
Heartland, I'm already booked for. I will definitely be there. Yeah, that's a definite. And well, Starwood is about as close to a definite as you can without having a contract.
Well, yeah, and that's right in your backyard.
You're right. It's only a couple hours drive for me. It's good to have the festivals coming back. I love doing them. I love the concert atmosphere. I love being outdoors. The camaraderie of hanging out with all my musicians friends that I've met over the years at different festivals, and playing music with them too. I'm very fortunate that a lot of great musicians will invite me up on stage to play with them, and that's always a lot of fun. I just
Do you get a lot more flexibility to do that in the festivals than you do on like a regular stage show?
yes, yes, a whole lot more because the other musicians are there. I was about this close to joining Tuatha Dea as a part-time member, um, and as an electric guitar player. And the problem is I'm about 9 hours drive from where they live, and I've got a whole career going on that besides what they do. I mean, we love each other. We love playing with each other. We love hanging out with each other. Um, but I think it's going to be more or less, the kind of thing where they've got me in their pocket if they need me for an emergency, and I'm available. Because I'll know the songs, and I love playing with them. Last time I played with them was at Cleveland Pagan Pride in Bedford, Ohio, and it was a lot of fun. It was scary because I don't know the songs as well as they do.
I'll just say that things are pretty much easy enough to pick up on.
Yeah, you'd think so, but they're very particular. They're an extremely hard-working band. I don't think I know anybody else that works as hard as they do.
Plus, basically, their band is pretty much a family affair.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's really it's amazing. I rehearsed with them over a weekend in Gatlinburg, and we were rehearsing like 5-6 hours a day. And for me to stand there with my Les Paul hanging over my shoulder that long, on the second day, after about 5 hours, I said, "I'm tired. Are we going to be done soon?" First time I've ever said that. It was always me, saying, "Come on, let's do it again." They have a lot of stuff, and it is complicated. And they had certain parts that they wanted to play, that other guitarists had played that went along with what the violinist was playing. And it wasn't a matter of me just strapping on the guitar and saying, "What key is this in?" Although I did do that occasionally and say, "What key is this in?"
Oh man! Well, and plus, they were just recently down in Florida at Celtic, the Highland Games, and yeah, he was also recovering from having broken ribs. I'm like, Danny, how are you going to pull that off?
Danny is one of the toughest human beings I have ever met.
Dedication and hunger for it,
and incredibly kind. Tough and kind are two rare commodities, but he is incredibly tough. His whole family is. I mean, they're just and they're just wonderful, beautiful people. I feel like they're part of my family. When I hang out with them, it's like, oh yeah, let's catch up. We just kind of like right where we left off. Even though things are changing, and I hear that their new guitar player is really, really good, which I'm glad for, because I feel like that gets me off the hook a little bit.
Oh yeah, well, the new guitar player is also family. And I've seen her perform, and like,
oh yeah, there's Sarah. There's another guitar player, more of a lead guitarist who just started working with him as well. Yeah, Sarah's great. Yeah, I remember playing with her at Starwood, and I turned to her a couple of times and said, "What key is this in?" Yeah, he'd announce a song. As a matter of fact, he announced one of them, and I thought, I don't know this song. And Sarah says, "Do you know this?" And I said, "No, I'll sit this one out." They started playing, and I was like, "Oh, wait a second, I know this one." I just didn't know it well enough to know what the name was. Yeah.
Once you start hearing the music, you say, "Oh, that one." Okay.
Oh yeah.
Man, now, over the years, how many albums have you put out? I mean, I have got several of you.
I've got 7 instrumental guitar albums. Seven just straight instrumental guitar albums, and that's what I've gotten most of my radio play over the years. Is that stuff, on folk and new age shows, and that still gets played all over the world, which is very nice. I've got 3 vocal albums that are out, and the song that we're playing in the middle here tonight is from the Raven King album. And I'm working on 3 more vocal albums and the musical. I'm also part of a group called Blue Feather, Dunlap, and Henke. Very dreamy new age with Native American flute and keyboards, and I play a lot of electric guitar on that album. And then, of course, there's the Woodchopper's Ball, and which is a compilation CD with all the great acoustic guitars from all over the world. And there's the Green album, which I just have 1 song on. So I think that's everything.
To say, if you've got one coming up with a Native American flute, that's one I'm definitely going to want to hear.
Oh, okay. I'll PM you and send you some.
Cool.
Yeah, Blue Feather Dunlap. Douglas Blue Feather is, well, he's one of the best there is. Where I recorded on some of his albums. Matter of fact, it's funny. I wrote a song for one of his albums. I think it was called Cherry Moon or something like that. Under a Cherry Moon. I forget the name of it because I never played it on my own. I just played it with him, and it won a NAMI award, Native American Grammy. I didn't get the NAMI. He did because I'm not Native American. But I do have a song that I wrote that won a NAMI, which is cool.
Usually what they'll do is they'll at least do the recognition that you played along with him at the NAMI.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't there, so I wasn't invited.
Yeah, I've actually watched one of the NAMI awards because there's a flutist that I have really liked over the years, and that's Jan Michael Looking Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
He's out in Oregon.
Yeah.
Just a fantastic guy, fantastic player. He's got a couple of guitarists that play with him. And they put out some fantastic music too. So.
Yeah, I love doing the album with them. It was so much fun. We got all the copies made for all of us. We sent it out to radio stations. We didn't have any money for promotion. We just sent it out.
Right.
And it made it up to number 9 on the International New Age radio charts with no promotion at all. And I thought it was hilarious because Carlos Nakai, who is probably the best known, was number 8. We were creeping up behind him. We pushed him into that number 8 spot.
Yeah, Carlos has been around for a long time.
Right. Crown of Stars is the name of the album, and it was just so much fun to do. We recorded a song called Night Tides. I'll make sure I send you a copy of that. That after we were done recording the song, I said, this song is so good that if this is the only thing we ever did together, it was worth it. I was able to be a fan of it because most of it wasn't my music. I only wrote 1 song on the album. Most of it I was just playing guitar. And that's kind of fun, just going in and putting my own guitar parts on something that isn't mine. It gives me a different perspective and a different way to work on things, a different way to innovate. I remember one tune, I came up with a tuning just for that song, and I only played 3 chords. I just wanted a certain really wide, I'll get my hands closer together, wide. That's how big the fish was, really wide sound. So I came up with this really crazy tuning to hit those 3 simple chords.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And
Robert Lowe says, good evening, everyone. So welcome, Robert. Appreciate you tuning in today with us.
Hi, Rob Lowe. Thanks for joining us.
So after you get, now you said that you're hoping to have the 1 album done by tomorrow night. You're hoping.
Yeah, it's got 13 songs on it. I've got to do the final mix on one called Temple of the Trees, which has about 30 different harmonies at the end. And I want to tweak the harmonies a little bit and I've got a drum part. There's a single drum hit that I want to bring way back in the mix, and then I have a violin part which was done by Ren J. White Seven. He went over to Lou Garou's house and recorded a violin part for me for the last song that I added to the album, and it's called There Beneath the Stars. So hopefully I'll be able to get that done tomorrow night, both of those songs.
Yep, I also know Lou as well. He and I are good friends, and I've talked with
Lou's a
him
great guy.
before. Yep, he sure is. He lives out in the cabin.
Yep, he lives out in the cabin. He moved to Arkansas from Tennessee, where he was living in a cabin.
Yeah, he sent me, when he first sent me his music, I listened to it and like, this guy's good. I mean, he's also a good instrumentalist.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was in Arkansas playing a festival, which name I don't remember now, but Ren, the violinist, was there too, and we were both playing on Lou's music, and Lou's is very wide open, and easy to put other things into it. And I remember just looking at Ren and playing. We were playing together. It was like we somehow got into each other's heads, and we're just reading each other's minds, and it was just great. And Lou was looking right; he was in front of us, so I had no idea what he was thinking about what we were doing to his songs. I hope he liked it.
I'm sure. Flattery is, I mean, what is it called? How do they put it? Repetition is the best compliment.
Something along
Policy is the best policy.
Well, like if you're playing something that somebody else wrote or somebody else played, it's can't even think of it. Don't mind me.
Yeah. Basically, we looked at Lou and said, "What key is it in?"
Yeah. And he did, and he was totally okay.
And this one's an A minor, and be like, "All right, got it." It's not like some songs change keys a lot. Like I wouldn't recommend another musician just sit in on one of my songs because I change keys a lot. But
Ed nailed it. Can you put that comment up, Earl?
Oh yeah,
that was it.
There we go.
Imitation is the best form of flattery.
That.
And if you flatter somebody with something that you already said, then flattery is the imitation of imitation. So.
Yeah, there you go. Now, have you let's see, have you collaborated any with Betsy Tinney?
We played together with SJ at a fairy festival in New York. I think it was New York or Pennsylvania. It was around that area. And it was a blast. I loved working with Betsy, and I would love to record with her sometime. She's not as easy for me to reach as some of the other musicians I know, though. But it was a lot of fun. Of course, working with SJ is great too.
Oh yeah.
And again, it was like, what key is this in?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know any of SJ's songs.
I believe Betsy's out on the West Coast. I remember.
Yeah, she's on the West Coast. She's way out there on the other side of those mountains that are in the way that make it difficult to drive to.
Usually when I'm listening to
would those be?
Usually when I'm listening to music from several of the artists that we both know, that I can always pick out Betsy in a heartbeat. I know her music like the back of my hand. And usually when I hear somebody playing, and like I can usually pick out who it is.
Yeah, I remember when I was playing with her and SJ, I just tried to make my guitar sound like a cello, only up higher, and weave in and out of what she was weaving in and out of. It was a lot of fun. She's a brilliant musician, and it was just very enjoyable to sit in like that. I think I remember correctly, I think SJ even played an instrumental for us so that we could just kind of jam on it. I really, really enjoyed that. I would love to see Sewage a lot more often than I do.
Yeah, I know she's spending a lot more of her time at home and doing stuff locally right now. After after having her kid, but yeah, I think that's the reason why she's doing a lot of her stuff at home these days.
Yeah. Yeah, she stopped in at a festival I was playing in Arkansas, because she lives out that way. And it was great to see her. Matter of fact, she was sitting in during a workshop I was doing on songwriting, and I thought, are you going to tell me I'm doing it wrong? Which of course she didn't. But it was just so good to see her. And then I went up to Ginger Doss's place to do some recording there, and I don't think the recording worked out that well. We really didn't. It just, one of those times where it just didn't gel. I don't think I was able to tell exactly what she had wanted, and that she wound up not using guitar on it, on the tune she was doing. And she's been on some of my stuff. She did the incredible vocal harmonies on Captain Time Warp, which I don't remember what album it's on.
There again.
It's either The Raven King or Dance with the Fireflies. It's one of those.
I love the way that you were putting that earlier. Yeah, we're going to play a song. I don't remember which album it's off of, but we're going to go with it.
Oh, there's times where I knew what song I was going to play, but I couldn't remember the name of it. It happens with the instrumental stuff, especially.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
yeah.
Now, we've got a video that we're going to be playing here. I promised everybody that we're going to be playing. I think you're all going to enjoy this one. Now, what was the story behind this one?
Well, the story is I to begin with, the chords came from a song I'd written when I was about 19 or 18. And I saw a photo of myself sitting on a fence with my old Gibson acoustic, with my daughter as a little girl sitting next to me. And I looked at my hands and I remembered the chords I was playing. And I thought, I always liked those chords. I just got tired of the song. So I took those same chords and wrote Raven King. And it's a story about the Raven King and a woman going to a river and singing her dreams to the Raven King who's flying between the stars. And I just love that imagery. And then, for recording it, at the end of it, I asked a whole bunch of my friends to add harmonies. And basically built up a choir. And none of these people knew what the others were doing. So, they just knew that they were going to be singing with this. So I wound up with a lot of really cool stuff. And I decided to play an electric guitar solo over the top. And Lynn Sanders from Burning Sage was actually in the studio recording her part. And I said, I got an idea. How about if towards the end of what you're doing there, you think of Great Gig in the Sky, just kind of go off and just sing. She said, okay. She did it. First take, we got it. Because my plan had been to maybe play a harmony over the top with the guitar. Mm-hmm. And after I heard it, I thought, I'm not touching that. I'm going to play underneath it. It's just too good for me to muddy it up with my guitar playing. So that's basically the story behind it.
Cool. All right. Here we go.
She stands by a river beneath the moon, holding a basket of her dreams, wind for the wings that beat like the heart of a raven king. A song that she sings for the raven king, clear in the dark like a lover's dream. She sings. Lullabies, love songs, and faded flowers float in the wind and the waves. Clocks in towers that count the hours, illusion of time fades away. The breath of her dreams, wind for the wings, above and below, and everything beats in the heart of a raven king.
I'll tell you what, Brian, that to me is one of the best forms that you've done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun to do in the studio. I had
Oh,
no preconceived idea of what I was going to do with a guitar solo until I got there because I wanted it to be raw and fresh, you know,
mhm.
and just, crank it up, put the headphones on. Fortunately, they stayed on my head because I was moving around quite a bit.
Yeah.
It hasn't always been the case when I played electric guitar in the studio. And just cut loose and had a blast. And then when I heard what Lynn Sanders had done, I was like, okay, I'm just going to sweep under this and build it up. And it was so much fun. I can't even. I was hoping I'd write another one like that, but that hasn't happened. In the studio, I believe that the song is the master, not me. So as a producer, when I'm producing my own stuff or when I'm producing somebody else's, it's the song is the king. So what I want to necessarily do isn't always what I get.
Right. Now, somebody
Right.
made the comment that two-time IPMA winner and all-around sweetheart. Melissa, is that you chiming in tonight? I have a feeling that's Melissa. I just have a sneaky suspicion. Let's see. Now, Ed made a comment that he wrote a Irish sea shanty.
Oh, nice.
He's not been able to put music to. If you'd like to give it a shot.
Just have him, message me the lyrics, and I'll take it from there and see what the muse says. I
Right.
can't say, generally when I'm writing, the words and the music come together at the same time. Or I'll have an image, and a lot of times the words get changed, with the music. And sometimes the music gets changed with the words. So I generally don't look at words that are already written and say, all right, here, I'm going to put a melody to it, because then I'm locked into what those words are. But tell them to please go ahead, send it to me, and I'll have a look at it, and I'll let him know whether I can do something with it or not.
Yep. And I'll make sure that he's got your email address to send that over to you.
Yeah, or you can send it via Facebook too.
Okay.
You don't have to be a friend of mine on Facebook, to be able to send me a private message. I just can't add anybody as friends right now because Facebook said 5,000's enough.
Hey, hit
Yeah.
the 5,000 mark. That's a
No.
feat right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm not even nearly close to that. I'm lucky if I've got like 300. He's like, that's plenty.
I'm faced with having to possibly get a second page, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. It's enough of a pain trying to keep up with one,
Mhm.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's just frustrating. I wish they would change that policy and double it at least.
Let's see now. I want to know how the Woodchippers Ball went.
The Woodchoppers Ball went well. It's a benefit concert for the homeless that I've been doing for 20 years now. We just had our 20-year anniversary. And I bring in some of the greatest guitarists in the world from all over the place. And we play round robin, 3 of us on stage at a time, till everybody's played their 4 best songs. So if you can imagine getting 9 really world-class great guitar players together, all playing their 4 best songs, surrounded by their friends and peers. It's an incredible show. And it went well. We still, we're having issues with COVID restrictions and people not going out.
Right.
So we didn't have as big a crowd as I would have liked. But I would anticipate that the 21st anniversary concert, will come close to selling out the room, which is 650 seats. It's in Kent, Ohio, for those that are curious, at the Kent stage.
And I can just imagine. Oh, go ahead.
writing related questions for you because you are a writer in your own right, right? So my first question is, what things inspire you to write?
I write a lot about nature and the way that nature, affects all of us. My instrumental music was almost entirely about nature and magic. Um, the last instrumental album was called Seven Magic Spells, and each one of the magic spell songs was done on the Dreamcatcher harp guitar. Um, and I write a lot about magic actually, and love, of course. Somebody asked me once. She said, "Well, do you?" I was doing instrumental stuff. Do you know any love songs? And I said, "They're all love songs.
Yeah.
They're all love songs." Um, so yeah, I tend to write about that. I wrote a song for the Morrigan, called Morrigan, Queen of the Ravens, but I didn't write from a perspective of having read books on it. I wrote my personal point of view of where I think she's coming from and a relationship to humans. I write a lot about the Fae, the land of the She, and you find that in just about everywhere. Dance with the Fireflies. Oh my gosh, Forever Lullaby. All of those songs. I've quite a few of the new ones. I've got the Fairy King and the Miller's Daughter. Are about that. That whole other world.
I listened to. That was the first one I listened to of yours, and was just like
that'll be on the next album. That had a lot of good people on it. Sharon Knight sang a bunch of the harmonies. Vicky from Hecate's Wheel, Vicky Scotty did some of them. Maven Stone played harp on it and sang harmonies. Mama Gina Lamont added harmonies. It's really helpful knowing some of the best singers on earth when I want to have harmonies put on a song.
It does help knowing a lot of people.
Right.
But I can just imagine at Woodchopper's Ball that the night guitarists having a friendly competition between each other too.
To a certain extent, yes. I mean, it's not like an actual competition because I've done an awful lot of those too, both been in them and judged them, and those it's tough because you're competing, but there's a realization when you reach a certain point and on any instrument, or if you're in the music business, that no matter what you're doing, you're always competing. You're competing for CD sales. You're competing for airtime, podcast time. You're competing with to get a show. So really, what it's more like is just an enormous amount of camaraderie because we all know and understand what all the others are going through and have gone through to get to the point where they're that good. And there's just it's a constantly being amazed by the things that other guitar players come up with. I mean, Helen Avakian playing Rhapsody in Blue on acoustic guitar. Pete Huttlinger, who's no longer with us, playing Steely Dan's Josie, all the parts at once. I mean, it's that kind of thing, where you're just constantly being amazed by everybody. I remember playing a particularly fun one night. There were 4 of us on stage. It was one of the earlier ones when we had more guitar players. And Jason Denny said, "I'm going to play something quiet and subtle." And he played this really pretty, quiet, subtle song. And Pete Huttlinger was on next. And he says, "I'm going to play something quiet and subtle." And he proceeds to play this thing called Santa Rita Breakdown, I think it was, Connection. That was just a total barn burner. Just amazing. And it's incredibly fast with his E arpeggio that hit every single thing all the way up the neck, and in 2 seconds at the very end of it. And the crowd was going crazy. And I turned and looked at him and I said, "Yeah, that was quiet and subtle, Pete. Like a plaid suit on fire." And he just smiled at me, and I played something completely different.
I was going to say, I can just see the...
I was like, this is not the time for me to play a barn burner. I remember playing once with Andy McKee and Don Alder, who are they've won a lot of championships between the two of them for fingerstyle guitar at the Walnut Valley Fest, and there's just the three of us playing round robin on stage. And I look out in the audience, and Stephen Bennett and Tommy Emmanuel are watching us. And I was just like, okay. And I played something quiet and subtle because I knew I wasn't going to, blow anybody away by playing a bunch of really fast stuff, because they were all like, yeah, whatever, we've seen that, done that, been there, got the t-shirt.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying, I can just imagine basically one of them playing and then looking over the other one and saying, okay, top that one.
Well, Don Alder has won 2 international fingerstyle guitar championships, one in this country and one over in Europe. And Andy McKee is, probably the most viewed guitarist ever on YouTube. And Tommy Emmanuel is considered by many to be the greatest guitarist that ever lived. And Stephen Bennett as well. And, here I am with them out in the audience and, surrounded by these two guys. I was sitting in the middle. I later called it my favorite chump sandwich. and I had the last song, and I was like, okay. What do I do? So I played something quiet and subtle and pretty, something I really liked a lot, from the Nature of Light album. I still remember a song called White, which is about 2 minutes long, because I didn't want to be up there any longer than I had to.
Yeah, short and sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, let's see. I know that you've collaborated with practically everybody that we know. What has been your best time playing with each other, being able to collaborate together?
Oh God, there is no particular best time. Playing with Wendy Rule. I remember one night it was her and Tim and I. It was the first time we'd ever played together. We're doing the opening song at a festival called Summerland up in Wisconsin, and we had just met, and we kind of went over the chords, and then we started playing on stage, and it was like we opened up a portal to another dimension. The chemistry between the three of us was so incredible. Playing Sympathy for the Devil with Tuatha Dea at Cleveland Pagan Pride was a blast, because I got to cut loose and play electric guitar. Working with Ginger Doss anytime I've ever worked with her. Mama Gina, oh my Lord. And Lou Garou, that night with Ren and Lou, it was just magical. So I mean, just been so many. I've been so very, very fortunate to have so many friends who are incredible musicians. And when we meet, of course, the first thing we want to do is play music together, because that's part of catching up.
Right.
Oh, I can just imagine. So, okay, so now basically I've got your Reverb Nation page up there for people to go to and listen to your music, download.
Right, there's a lot of free downloads there. You can listen to everything. I mean, it goes way, way back into my instrumental catalog too. So that you can sit there for hours listening to the music there, and it won't cost you anything.
Yep. Yeah, and Ed just made a comment that put 2 musicians in a room, you've got a jam going.
Put some fruit in a jar full with sugar, and you've got jam too.
That's true.
That's pretty good. I think I've got some black currant preserves. I think I'm going to have after this on an English muffin. How's that sound to you guys? You want any?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll fix you some too. And if you're not hungry, I'll just eat it myself.
Yeah, okay.
All right, be there in 5.
Okay.
I do need to step away, you guys. I apologize.
That's
Brian, it was great to see you. I may not be back before the show ends, but thank you so much for being with us, and look forward to doing this again with you at some point.
Yeah, when the albums are out, I'll send you a message, and we can celebrate. Got to get some more videos made, that sort of thing too. But I'll keep in touch. And
All
keep in
right,
touch with me too. I'm not hard to find.
will
Oh, yeah.
do. Earl, I will catch you in a little bit.
All right. Sounds good, dear.
I-
All right. Now, like I said, this has been fun getting caught up with you, and it's been a while since we've talked. I was really happy that you had sent me the MP3 track and the video so that I could share that with everybody tonight. And I'm definitely looking forward to the new album too.
Thanks. I'm really looking forward to it being done. I wanted it to be done about 2 years ago, and then I couldn't get into the studio, and
Hmm.
I ended up writing more songs, and then more songs, and then more songs. And then I started getting into the studio, and before you know it, I had 3 albums worth of stuff. Um, the second album will be called Lullabies and Roses. The first album to come out will be To the Fair,
Wow. Okay.
and it's got a lot of magical stuff on it, and I'm hoping everybody likes it. I know I'm liking it so far. I probably like I said, by the time I'm done with it, I won't be able to listen to it. Oh, Queen of Spiders, yeah, Queen of Spiders in the Sun. Um, that was a lot of fun to do.
Cool. Oh, we'll definitely be looking forward to that. And then, yeah, once you get those done and put out, we'll definitely do another one with the releases. And um, yeah, and we'll also, I think next time I'll also play the other video that I've got from you as well. So we'll be sure to include that in on the next one.
Awesome. Yeah, that's an instrumental. Um, there is quite a bit of my instrumental music up on YouTube. Although I've never put anything up there. Other people have, but you can find just about any of that. Whereas the vocal stuff is pretty hard to find, and I hope to be getting some good stuff on up there with me singing pretty soon.
Very cool. All right, and you can also be found on Facebook.
Yes,
Brian Henke, Brian G. Henke.
Brian G.
Uh,
Henke. Yeah,
um, and then, yeah, so be sure to
yeah.
check out
I
Facebook page.
what do you think? Some of you can answer this. If I get a second page because they won't let me have any more friends than I have, instead of Brian G. Henke, how about Brian G. Whiz Henke? What do you
Huh,
guys think? Brian G. Whiz Henke. Let me know.
that
Let me
sounds
know what you think.
interesting. That sounds like a good name. So yeah, I've got 2 pages myself, along with yeah, I've got the personal, I've got the business one, and I've also got the 2 other business pages and groups. So yeah, I have to try to,
Yeah, I don't know how you keep up with it.
yeah, I try my best.
Yeah, I just wish that they'd let me have more friends and they make it a lot easier.
Yeah, I know what you're saying there. Okay, let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's somebody else. Okay, never mind. Uh, I want to say thank you for joining me tonight. It's been a
It's
real
been fun.
fun time getting caught up with you, and I'm going to be looking forward to having you back on here again soon.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll let you know when the album's done because I intend on getting on and letting people know after this much time, working on it. I want it out there in the world.
Right. Understand that. Okay, and let's see. I'm going to put back up the our now that we have our new line of merchandise that you can find on the website at iapnradio.net. That's the direct link for the merch. That all you have to do is just place the order. They'll ship it out to you directly. You don't have to really go through us to do it. You can go directly to the source. They'll do the shipping for me and get that over to you. We've got t-shirts, we got hoodies. I'll be including some more merchandise into that as well. So be sure to stay tuned for more information on that. Otherwise, I want to wish everyone pleasant journeys. And for those of us who are in the Midwest here, right now we're having a heat wave. It's only 30, it's actually up to 32, which has been nice because we've been in single digits for a long time. So enjoy the weather while we've got it anyway. And I will be seeing you again tomorrow night. We've got Chris from Bone Poets orchestra going to be with us tomorrow night.
Sounds good.
So be sure to tune in for that. In the meantime, have a good night, folks, and we're going to be done for the evening.
All right.